Good morning, third graders. Today our math assignment is going to have to do with mean, median, mode, and range. I'll go over all these concepts with you on this video. Okay, next step, try to get two pieces of just ordinary notebook paper and get them to look like this. Put these on your paper. Mean, and then under that I wrote average because the mean is just the average of all the numbers. So I'm going to have you pick 5 things. So the mean will be add up all 5 things and then divide by 5, and that'll be your mean or average. The median is the middle number of the group. So there'll be 5 numbers. The third number would be the middle number or the median. The mode is some number that appears most. I don't know that everyone will get a mode today, in a sense that you probably have 5 different numbers, so really nothing is the mode or everything in this is the mode. But the mode is more helpful when there's a lot of numbers and we see which number appeared most. You might have a mode that works today, you might not. Don't worry about it if you don't. The range is the difference between whatever objects you're dealing with. The biggest amount minus the smallest amount is the range. And then just get another paper that has the same info, but this is where you're going to do your work. This is where you're going to do your work, and I'd love to see a screenshot of your work when it's done, and then we're going to try to do like a second draft, more like a presentation on this page. Okay, so what can you use to do this? You can find lots of things around the house. Here are 5 baseball cards. They're all pitchers. Here's one of my favorite pitchers of all time, Fernando Valenzuela. On the back, there's numbers I could use. They all have the same different stats, so I could pick like wins for all the pitchers. And that would be my data set. Okay, that's one idea. Also, I have some records here. They each have a different amount of songs. This jazz album doesn't have very many songs. This blues album has tons of songs, and in between are different amounts of songs. Again, I could use the amount of songs as my data point. For my assignment, my model of assignment, I'm going to use the pages in these books. Sherlock Holmes, then I have a little biography about Dr. King. Peter Sagan is one of my favorite bike racers. This book called The Crossing is probably my favorite book of all time if I had to pick one. And then a book I just started reading, Toni Morrison's Jazz. So I'm going to figure out the mean, median, mode, and range of these books as it comes in terms of the amount of pages in the book, because I just need a number. You could look up animal weights on the internet. You could look up populations of city. You could look up calories per serving of breakfast cereals. Anything that's going to give you 5 numbers that you can use is okay with me. But just label whatever you're doing so we all know what you're talking about. So I'm going with the pages in 5 good books. That's my title, the amount of pages in these books. I will show you what to do next. Okay, next, this is on my workspace sheet here. I just wrote down the titles of the books I'm using. Those are my 5 sources. Now, I'm going to stop the video, write down the amount of pages in each book, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm back. So all I did was I took the things that I'm using, in this case books, and because it's pages, I just went to the back, and here were my amount of pages. So I got 229, 426, 293, 506, and 1,122. That's a lot of pages. Let's start with mean. So mean, the first thing I do is I'm going to add up all these numbers. Here's a little tip. When you add the numbers, just try not to add them any random way, although that would work and give you the same answer. But try to stack them so the numbers go from the biggest all the way down to the smallest. That'll help you with the next couple of things we're doing. So if you're listening carefully, when you add them up, just put them in this order. In other words, from biggest to least. That's going to help us on a few things for this, okay? first things first, add up your numbers. Okay, there's the sum of all my numbers. All my pages in all these 5 books, the total is 2,576. If you want to use a calculator at home, that is just fine for any of this, okay? But just double check your work. So anyway, my first number is 2,576. So to find the mean, I take that number and I divide by the amount of things. Well, I have 5 books, so I'm going to divide that by 5. So when you divide the total amount of pages, 2,576, by the amount of books, 5, this is the number I get. 515, remainder of 1. If I use a calculator, that would be 0.2. Either way, let's estimate to 515. That's the average amount, or the mean, of all my 5 books. So there's my mean, 515 pages. It kind of makes sense because my biggest is 1,200 or 1,122, and my smallest is in the 200s. So somewhere in the middle there, that makes sense to me. The next thing is my median, which simply means the middle number. Well, middle number if I put my numbers in biggest to smallest, which if you listen to the earlier directions, you already did. So if you did that already, good. If you didn't, put your numbers in the middle, in order, from the biggest to the smallest. And if I count down of the 1, 2, that's my middle number. And that's all it is. The median is the middle number. That's my middle number. That's my median. On to the mode. Again, the mode is the number that appears the most frequently. Well, none of these books have the same amount of pages, so I don't really have a mode. So I'm just going to show that by saying not applicable. I didn't have a mode. Some of you will not have a mode either. Don't worry about it. Now I'm to my last point, the range. And the range is just the difference, which means subtract, between the biggest and the smallest number. So there's my biggest number. Again, put them in order right away. That'll really help. And then my smallest number. So when I subtract, I get 893. So that means, let me see if I get this right. That means the difference between this book and this book, is 893 pages. And that's what I was looking for. So that now that all our math is done, so to speak, let's just transfer everything over to our final copy. So up on the top are my title. I couldn't think of anything more clever than pages in 5 good books. Please label what you're using. So if you got 5 cities, population, label the cities. If you're using the height of your families in inches, label everybody in your family. Whatever you're using, tell us the 5 things that you're using, please, okay? So those are the titles of my books, because I pick books. Those are the things I use. Give me some details. All this information is already on here. So I'm just transforming it, I'm just moving it over here, not really transforming it. Just moving it over here, making it look a little nicer. Again, it's the same info as the other one, and I'm done. And that is what we're doing today with mean, median, mode, and range. Remember, you get to pick what you want to do the numbers with, and you can use a calculator, you can get help, that is all good. Again, if you're not sure what to do, watch this video again. Hope it helps. Miss you all very, very, very much.